Hello and welcome back to Hunting for Headlines with your host Jalen Rose today, along with Nima Tobgay. Today we're going to be talking about the three biggest things in football with Bayern München's win in the UEFA Champions League Super Cup, what's happening in UEFA Champions League, and other important soccer news. All coming up next on Hunting for Headlines.
Marcus Rashford, the coolest man in the place. In space, big mix-up. Only him. Only him. That's ridiculous.
Today we'll start off with the UEFA Super Cup, where you saw two teams, Bayern München or Bayern Munich, for English speakers, and Tigres represent their continent in the finals. This took place in Qatar, in one of Qatar's biggest national stadiums in their country, and will also play host to one of the few stadiums in the World Cup next year. Bayern Munich won a result of 1-0 against Tigres, but it comes as no surprise as Bayern Munich, won Champions League the previous year, and they did it in a dominating fashion, taking over teams like Barcelona in a big 8-3 nil game, and obviously, of course, beating PSG in the final. Now, I watched the game personally myself, and I found that during the game, Tigres had a lot of chances in front of goal, but it just didn't come to enough as, their shot stopper, Manuel Neuer, made a good amount of saves, and of course came down to the 58th minute where their center back, Benjamin Pavard, bringing in a scoring, screaming header that took the game. Now, they did have a previous goal that was counted as offside as Joshua Kimmich, the right back, had a screamer of a shot just outside the box, but the striker, Robert Lewandowski, was just a bit offside due to VAR. That's how they obviously go through those different calls after the goal and stuff. And a lot of things have been taken into place when they've added stuff like that in. Essentially, it's just an instant replay system that basically helps the referee or assist the referee on seeing views and angles that the linesman or the referee can't see. And obviously, it was used into place with Joshua Kimmich's goal, which was called off or ruled off outside. And obviously, in the second half, off a corner, Benjamin Pavard had a screaming header, which gave them the 1-0 lead, but that was the only goals of today. Now, moving on to the UEFA Champions League, one of the most illustrious tournaments in the world, obviously representing all the European clubs in the world. Obviously, teams from North America, South America, Asia, Africa, and all those other teams can't compete in this specific bracket of tournaments. Obviously, they have their own respective confederation groups. Obviously, for example, in North America, you got the CONCACAF, and South America, CONMEBOL, and stuff like that. But there's a lot of illustrious matchups, a lot of engaging, enticing matchups. Obviously, there's two different competitions in UEFA. Obviously, there's the Champions League, which is the highest prestige league in the world, with usually the best teams from all different nations and all different leagues. And then right below is UEFA Europa League, which is teams that are top tier as well, but not just as good as the Champions League teams. Usually in the Europa League, there's quite a bit more teams. As for an example, if you had 32 teams in Champions League, you'd have about 64 in Europa League. So it is easier to win the Europa League, but also there's more competition as opposed to Champions League. There is less teams, but they are better, right? So there's more talent there. But starting off with the matchups, there's a lot of good matchups here that I'm even looking on my screen right now. And starting off with RB Leipzig, they're going to be going against Liverpool on February 16th on a Tuesday, along with Barcelona and PSG. That is on the same day. Sevilla and Dortmund will then be followed by Wednesday, the day after that, with Porto and Juventus. And obviously the week following after will be Atletico Madrid and Chelsea. Following that after Lazio and Bayern. And finishing off with some quick English Premier League news, or BPL news, or however you want to say it, with Liverpool, the recent Premier League champions as of last year, have been terrible in their last 5 games. And that's an understatement to say how good they are and how good they've been in the past years. Now, with this season, it has not been a normal season because of COVID-19 and other restrictions, players being in and out of the lineup and inconsistencies there. But despite that, in the last 5 games, they have lost 3 and have won 2. Now, obviously, with the high class and stature of Liverpool, going to the UEFA Champions League, which I talked about earlier, going to the finals a couple years ago, and then even winning it the year after. Their expectations, what Jurgen Klopp has to say about the club, does not live expectations. And with star players like Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane, and other players, they have not done to what Liverpool's expectations are of the club. And, teams like Manchester City have risen to the occasion over the standings, won the last 5 games, and have beaten top flight teams like Liverpool and Tottenham. With Liverpool, same thing with Jurgen Klopp, saying they've admitted that their confidence has dropped and they do not know if they're going to get back into top form. And even with the standings here, when Manchester United were even in first at one point, they've dropped some points. Chelsea has risen up back into the top 5. Also, if you are going to be watching UEFA Champions League, you will see them play there as well. Liverpool are in fourth right now. I mean, they could make a late push. With 38 games in total, they have played 24 games, so they got about around, not a long time to go. But if they do want to make a late game or late season push, now's the time. If we look at the point standing, Manchester City is in first with 53 points, followed by Leicester City, who's in second, which a lot of times with Leicester City, they are kind of the underdog type team in the Premier League. They did win it in 2015 when nobody expected them to win. And, even in last year, they made a good late time push, and, they were in third for the longest time. But, in the last 5 games, they did fall off, and other teams like Chelsea and Manchester United took over their spot. So they missed out on opportunities like that. But many teams wouldn't see Leicester City as a top 6 team, like Manchester City, Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Tottenham. But Leicester City has proved a lot of doubters wrong, including winning the Premier League in 2015, as they're in second now, just similar to last year. But hopefully, or maybe they might still hold that lead, or they might let it slip like they did last year. Now, obviously, they're in second. Manchester United are followed by with 45 points in third. Liverpool in fourth with 40, and Chelsea just taking over that top 5 spot with 39. Now, obviously, when I talked about earlier in my previous episodes about the sacking of Frank Lampard and their inconsistencies with Chelsea going up in the standings. At one point they were at first, and then another point they're at 8th. So they haven't really been at a still standalone and being in the top 6 or the top 5. In the Premier League, and obviously for qualifications of playing in continental tournaments like Champions League and Europa League, they do need to finish in the top 4 to be in the Champions League at the end of the season, or win the Premier League, or be in at least the top 5. So we'll see if Chelsea can keep their standings in the top 5, but who's to say? It's not the same season. Obviously, it's not a normal season. Fans are slowly being introduced and inducted back into the game, so maybe those home field advantages will now be an actual advantage and not a disadvantage, with the quiet noise or the made up noise or the implemented noise by machines and fake fans and all that type of stuff. But who knows? Even with Liverpool, you never know. That's the beautiful thing about football. That's the beautiful thing about soccer. Anything can happen. And, who's to say that Manchester City are the undoubtedly number 1 winners at the end of the day, even though they are leading first. And just finishing up also with a couple other segments in the Serie A, where you saw Napoli take on Juventus. Napoli getting a crucial win over Juventus, and same thing even there in the standings. Will Juventus beat the throned Serie A champions? Personally, I'm not too sure. As Juventus are a great team, they've won the Serie A consistently year after year after year. So, until they are dethroned, speculation can only go so far. And the same thing in Serie A. You saw Spezia take on Milan, them winning 2-0, and Eredivisie, Ajax taking on Hercules as well. Ajax winning 2-0. Barcelona being Alves in La Liga, 5-1 against Deportivo Alves. And Club America will play Quintero in the Liga BBVA MX in their season. All sneaking in some transfer rumors for today, as you see Arsenal potentially seeking a $20 million Euro move for Sporting Lisbon striker Thomas. Also, Bayern Munich agreeing to personal terms with Dayot Upamecano, an upcoming French center back, not only in the national team, but for his respective side. And as a lot of people state, it's a power move for Bayern Munich to go and get the youngster from RB Leipzig. And also, long time, I guess you could say wonder kid if you followed football around the early 2000s or 2010s. Players like Mario Balotelli, Alexander Pato were once, unanimous stars around the world, but, as many would say, they did not live up to expectations. This is due to injuries and all the other types of stuff that go along with football, inconsistencies, work ethic, all that type of stuff. But Balotelli, as he's had his moments, and Pato, they saw their careers go to, journeyman type moves, as you've seen them move to club to club to club, different tenures and stuff like that. And now actually in the MLS, you now see Orlando City Soccer Club sign Alexander Pato, and being stated by Jean-Philippe Ragout from ESPN FC, saying it's a low-risk move or signing for Orlando City. Now that is all for today on Hunting for Headlines. We hunt for the latest news, hunt for the latest scores, updates, and we take a look at the in-depth statistics and news that people don't find around the corner. This is Hunting for Headlines with Jalen Rose, along with Nima Topgay. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.